What does it really take for a kid from Brazil to earn the respect of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr, the faces of a dynasty built on sacrifice and excellence? It's not just talent. It's not just potential. It's about proving you belong every single day in an environment where every detail matters. This is the story of Gui Santos.
Yeah, so Gui's great. Ever since the season ended, him and the other young guys have been working out together, so I've been fortunate to be around him. He always comes to work with a smile on his face and wants to get better. Obviously, he's a really good shooter. Based on percentage, I think he was the highest three-point shooter on our team. Obviously, he didn't shoot as much as everybody else, but he's a really good shooter, something that we preach at Golden State, and just making the right play, and I think he's more than capable of doing that, and he continues to show throughout his year.
He's an unbelievable person. He's shown in some short stints out there on the court with us what he's capable of, and he's got a bright future ahead of him, and he's proud to represent his country. I've been to Brazil once, and it was way back when I was in high school. So I told him when I come back, I'm gonna call him, call Verjao, call Barbosa, all the guys that I play with, and hopefully they treat me to a good time. So, they're definitely proud to obviously represent their country. He's, the next in line to do that, and it's been cool to watch him grow in the short time he's been with us.
Gui Santos was amazing, just getting on the floor for loose balls, getting offensive rebounds, generating extra possessions, and
Gui Santos, the awful teammate, doesn't play hard. No, I'm just playing. He's one of the best teammates. I think I've watched Gui now for 3 or 4 years. Just come in and start his journey. It's funny, Luna and I were talking the other day that he didn't move great when he got here, but you watch him put the work in the weight room every single day. Watch him change his moving patterns to give himself a shot in this league, and he's taking full advantage of his opportunity. He's helped us win games this year, created a spot for himself in the rotation. And I think, anytime you can do that in this league, going through the journey that Gui has had to go to, it says a lot about your character, a lot about your work ethic.
At only 23 years old, he is quietly becoming one of the Warriors' most intriguing young players. A player many believe could become a hidden weapon in the years ahead. Born in Brasilia in 2002, Gui Santos grew up surrounded by a sport still fighting for international recognition. His idols were pioneers: Nene Hilario, Thiago Splitter, Anderson Varejão, and of course, Leandro Barbosa. These men carried Brazil into the NBA spotlight. They showed that Brazilians could not just play in the league, they could win, they could sacrifice, they could inspire. And now, Gui is carrying that torch forward. But Gui's story didn't start with bright lights and sold-out arenas. Like many young athletes, it began in local gyms, late nights, practicing shots, and endless drills designed to sharpen fundamentals. Born and raised in Brasilia, Gui Santos honed his early skills in Brazil's local leagues, a foundation that helped him stand out in national competitions and eventually draw attention from NBA scouts. The transition to the NBA is difficult for any international player. The language barrier, the pace of the game, and the physicality all create a learning curve. For Gui, that challenge was even steeper. The Warriors drafted him in 2022 with the 55th pick.
With the 55th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Gui Santos from Brasilia, Brazil.
A late second rounder. No guarantees, no spotlight, just a chance. And with Golden State's roster stacked with future Hall of Famers, he knew opportunities would be rare. So he embraced the grind. The G League became his classroom. Every night, long bus rides and small arenas tested his commitment. He wasn't a star there either, but he stood out for something else: his motor. Coaches praised his defense, his rebounding, his willingness to do all the little things that keep a team alive. That mindset is what eventually earned him a guaranteed contract in late 2023. A moment that proved the Warriors believed in him. On the floor, Gui Santos plays a role that isn't glamorous, but it's essential. He's what coaches call a connector. He doesn't dominate the ball, but he makes plays flow. He defends hard, rebounds relentlessly,
crash in the glass,
and spaces the floor by hitting threes. In a system like Golden State's, where quick decisions and unselfishness are everything, that's a perfect fit. But perhaps what makes Gui even more valuable is what he brings off the court. Teammates describe him as upbeat, funny, and someone who lifts the room. In a locker room that has experienced the highs of championships and the lows of tough losses, having a player who can balance intensity with joy is invaluable. Still, let's be real. Gui isn't a superstar. Not yet. He's not putting up 20 points a game. His averages are modest, just a handful of points and rebounds. But numbers can be deceiving, because in the limited minutes he's given, Gui plays with efficiency. He maximizes possessions. He never looks out of place. For a young player trying to crack an elite rotation, that's exactly what coaches want to see. Internationally, Gui has already made his presence felt. At the 2024 Olympics, he went toe-to-toe with elite competition, guarding international stars, playing under pressure, and representing his country on one of the biggest stages in sports. It all sharpened his confidence. He came back to Golden State carrying the pride of Brazil and the hunger to take the next step in his NBA career. And that connection to his country runs deep. In Brazil, basketball isn't always the first sport young athletes dream of. Soccer reigns supreme. But Gui's success is helping inspire the next generation of Brazilian kids to pick up a ball and believe the NBA is within reach. For Warriors fans, Gui has become a symbol of something they love: hard work paying off. Golden State's dynasty was never built on just stars. Sure, Curry, Clay, and Draymond are legends, but their championships were also shaped by role players. Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Barbosa himself, guys who understood their role and executed it perfectly. Gui fits that mold. Fans see it, and they're starting to believe he could be the next name to add to that list. At 23, Gui's journey is still being written. His strengths are clear: energy, defense, intelligence, and hustle. But the next step will determine everything. If he can develop more consistency in his shooting, expand his offensive skill set, and continue building chemistry with veterans, his ceiling could rise quickly. From a spark off the bench to a rotation player to possibly, one day, a starter. And that's how dynasties evolve. Not just through superstars, but through role players who grow, adapt, and step into bigger roles when the time comes. Gui Santos may never be defined by 30-point games, but that's not the only way to measure greatness. Sometimes, greatness shows up in hustle plays, in selflessness, in the energy a player brings when no one else is watching. That's how Gui is carving out his place in the NBA. He follows in the footsteps of Brazil's pioneers. He represents the present and the future of his country's basketball dreams. And in Golden State, he is writing a story that's only just beginning. The road ahead is long. The challenges will be many, but the potential, undeniable.